Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here. In today's video, I'll be talking about Sam Howell and how the Washington Commanders might have found their franchise quarterback for the first time in a long time. If you guys are new, please subscribe. It really helps out the channel a ton and it only takes a couple seconds and it's free. Also, check out BetUS, link in the description. And I'm not saying he's a franchise quarterback yet. There's still a lot of time for him to prove that, but from what he's done so far this season, it's trending in that direction. I just want to go over some stats from Sam Howell, and honestly, like, some of these stats are very, very encouraging for Sam Howell. So let's get into it. You know, so far, Sam Howell has more completions than Tua and Jared Goff. I mean, these are just some random stats. It's cherry picking a little bit, but want to be a little bit optimistic on this Tuesday right here after, win against the Commanders. He's got more passing yards than Trevor and Joe Burrow, more passing touchdowns than Jalen Hurts and Matthew Stafford, better passer rating than every QB in his class behind, Brock Purdy, and he's doing it, behind the most sack, or being the most sack QB in the entire league. That is also on him, though. He needs to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But a lot of these stats are very encouraging. Big time throws in the first 7 NFL starts of a quarterback's career, and Sam Howell is that's the 6th or 7th quarterback that has done that in his first NFL start. And you look at the quarterbacks ahead of him, in that same company with him: Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen. All at one point elite quarterbacks. And honestly, besides Deshaun Watson, all those guys are in the upper echelon of quarterbacks in the league right now. So that is very good company to be in. It shows that he has that arm talent. Maybe not that all those guys have, but he has really good arm talent. And that's not why he fell in this, fell in the draft. And honestly, even he did have his weaknesses, but falling to the 5th round was absolutely crazy. I mean, it's even crazy the Commanders didn't even draft him earlier than that, but the 5th round, first pick of the 5th round is where he fell. But I really like this stat because, look at that company that he's in, and that's not to say that he's going to be one of those quarterbacks, but it's just another good indicator for Sam Howell and the Commanders. You look at his stats compared to the other quarterbacks in the NFC East, and this is before the game yesterday that the Cowboys had, and Dak did have a solid game, but Sam Howell is passing for about 250 passing yards a game, which is 2nd in the division. He has 9 touchdowns, which is 1st in the division, even after Dak's game yesterday. He has 6 interceptions, which, it's not great, but that is still fewer, that's still less than Jalen Hurts, and also the same as Daniel Jones, but Sam Howell has played one more game than him. And the pass rating's the best in the division as well. Does not mean he's the best quarterback in the division. I still think that, I think Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than him. I think Jalen Hurts has not, he's had a little bit of a slow start to the season. Some of it has been, some of those interceptions that I've seen have been receivers dropping it and then the DB catching it, but he hasn't been great. But he also offers a lot as a runner. The tush push, besides even the tush push, he gets so many rushing yards a game that, sometimes it compensates for those turnovers. But Sam Howell's been really good. At the worst, you put him at the 3rd QB in this division by a lot over Daniel Jones. But honestly, you can probably put him at number 2 right now behind Jalen Hurts and, I think over Dak Prescott. There's the debate. It's still very early in, Sam Howell's career. Also, and I know you can't take out a specific game. I want to go to my Twitter right here and, quick time to plug it. Go ahead and follow the Twitter. Link is in the description. But I put out, and obviously can't take out a game, but this is just to show that, he's had besides that one Bills game, he's had some really good starts, okay to solid starts. And without that Bills game, if you take that out, 9 touchdowns and 2 interceptions over 5 games. Again, you can't take that out. And someone, pointed out, statistics don't mean anything when you start to cherry pick them, though. He threw them, so they have to count. Of course they count. But it's just showing that one really bad game is bringing his stats so much, so down, the interceptions up. And it makes him look worse than he actually is. And that, if you really look at it, that game that he had against the Bills was kind of an outlier so far. there hasn't been a game that has been close to that in terms of how bad he was. And besides that, like, he's been pretty good in every game. You know, the Bills game, or not the Bills, the Cardinals game, he wasn't great. But the Broncos game, he was good to maybe even great. The Bills game, he was awful. The Eagles game, he was good. And then the Bears game, he was okay. He had some mistakes, but he also made some plays. And then against the Falcons, he was, you know, good as well. So, you know, I don't know if he's had an amazing game. Maybe the Broncos was probably his best game, but yeah, I think the Broncos was probably his best game. But he's been very consistent besides that Bills game. That Bills game was really bad, and I think he just really got in his own head after he started to make mistakes. But it's really encouraging how he bounced back after a poor performance against the Bills. He goes up and they put up 31 points against the Philadelphia Eagles and force overtime there at the end, and they almost win that game. And, you know, no more moral victories, but that was a good performance by Sam Howell, and, you know, almost carried the team to a win, and the defense was not helping him out at all. And real quick, a word from our sponsor. And a huge shout out to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. BetUS is the leading online sports betting company. They have so many different sports that you can bet on. The NFL currently, the NBA season is coming up, which you can bet on that. The MLB playoffs are underway. The Phillies just had a huge game with Bryce Harper yesterday, and yeah, you can bet on that. There's Thursday night, Jacksonville Jaguars versus the New Orleans Saints, and the Jaguars are 1-point underdogs, which is very interesting, so you can bet on that. They've got live bets, you can do parlays, you can do futures, so everything you want to bet on, you can, and they have every, you know, different type of bet to make as well. Make sure you guys check them out. Link in the description, and use my link for 125% first time deposit match. It's a really good deal, gives you some money to play around with on all these different amazing bets that they offer on so many different sports that you wouldn't even think you could bet on, like martial arts, you know, horse racing and other stuff as well. And as usual, bet responsibly. Alrighty, back to Sam Howell. So another stat, he's top 10 in passing yards, top 10 in passing touchdowns, and top 10 in completion percentage. I might as well pull up his stats right here, and he's, you know, in a lot of the, you know, efficiency stats as well. He's not top 10, but he's like around the middle of the pack, which is pretty good. It's pretty good for a guy that's basically a rookie. I mean, he played one game last year. So let's look at his season stats. So he's played in 6 games, a 68% completion percentage, exactly 1,500 yards, 9 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 34 sacks, a 90.1 pass rating. Quarterback rating is like 47. It isn't amazing, but it's not terrible. It's better than what we've had. Rushing wise, he has 100 rushing yards and a touchdown. So not a ton, but a decent amount, like probably a little bit above average. Would like them, you know, to run him. I mean, I wouldn't say like run him a little bit more, because the thing is, he is, you know, sometimes he's not very safe with it and he doesn't slide, but he's a capable runner and his vision is really good. Like, he might not be quick, but when he is in open space, he sometimes makes some guys miss. He, you know, makes a nice read and is able to get 9, 10 plus yards. So he has a rushing touchdown in the year and, you know, 1 fumble. So that's something that also is very positive in his game. But you saw in 2022, his one game, he had 35 rushing yards and a touchdown. So, you know, he can definitely run. He's got good vision, but also you want to limit the amount of hits he gets, and he hasn't done a great job of limiting those. Besides the last game when they did that 4th down run, he was able to, you know, avoid the hit and he slid down after 4 yards, which is great. You got the 4th down conversion. That's what you were there to do. That's great. The negatives with Sam Howell, again, that Bills game was really bad. The other thing, and this has not gotten better, but that is Sam Howell's sacks. He's on pace for 96 sacks. That is by far the most of all time, if that happens. Hopefully it doesn't. But the thing is, every week you're like, it's not going to get worse. And they play a defensive line that, like the Bears, who had 2 sacks in 4 games. What do? They have 5 sacks against us. The Falcons, who have 5 sacks in 5 games, or had 5 sacks in 5 games, have 5 sacks against us. It's ridiculous. And Yes, the O-line definitely has something to do with some of those sacks. They do. The offensive line is not good. At best, it's okay, and that's probably stretching it. Nick Gates isn't amazing, and they have, Andrew Wiley isn't great. But there are definitely times, and this happens with every quarterback, but with Sam Howell even more, that Sam Howell holds onto the ball way too long, and I understand the guys down the field might not be open. That is fine, but you got to throw that away. Like J.P. Finley had a stat out today that there were guys that were in the top, because Sam Howell is like top 5 or top 10 in passing attempts and yards. There's other quarterbacks in top 5 and top 10 that are also not in the top 5 of sacks. So Sam Howell definitely has to do a better job of that, and I'm hoping that's what we see in the next few weeks, because honestly, I haven't seen him throw a lot of, besides the Bills game, a lot of passes that are, interceptable. Maybe like one a game, like against the Falcons, the one that hit AJ Terrell's back, foot or the heel. That one could have gotten intercepted. I don't know what happened on that throw. Besides that, not much. So he's done a good job with that. His accuracy is good. The deep ball could be a little better. I thought it was going to be better, but, sometimes the receiver just drops it. Like Jahan Dotson dropped one. Diami was kind of in position to make some. So that's something as well that maybe the stats will get a little bit better on the deep ball if these receivers make some plays as well. But overall, I really liked what Sam Howell's done. He's on a rookie contract. This is the most optimistic I've felt about Commanders, Redskins, Washington football team quarterback since Kirk Cousins. And, if we had Kirk Cousins on a rookie deal right now, or in the past few years, if we had Kirk Cousins on a rookie deal with what Sam Howell's making, we would be a playoff contender. So if Howell continues to do what he's doing right now, and the defense, shapes up, and if Howell, gets better than he's doing right now, because I think he can. If he gets those sacks down, this offense is going to be much better, because sacks absolutely hurt you and kill drives. And that's what happens with Howell sometimes. If you're in field goal range, you lose that field goal, or if you're in the red zone, it's 2nd and 5. Now it turns to 3rd and 13, and it's just a lost cause. So if he can limit those sacks, I think we're going to be in a really good spot, and we can win. We can win with Sam Howell as our quarterback on a rookie deal, for sure. A lot of these quarterbacks that are, some people might say Derek Carr is a solid quarterback, or let's say 2 years ago, Kirk Cousins, guys like that. But these teams aren't winning with them because they're getting paid $40-45 million. Sam Howell is getting paid like $1 million. So, obviously, that's a decent amount of money, but just not for an NFL quarterback. So you can win with Sam Howell as a quarterback if he's playing like he is right now, and if he continues to get better. So I'm excited about Sam Howell. I think he can be a really good player for us, and he's been good for us. So yeah, excited for that. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.